Hello, sir.
Hello, Katie. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. It's loud and clear, so let's get to it. Let's get down to business.
Yeah. We're going to get down to business. I am driving back from church, but yeah, I'm going to start and eventually get to the studio and continue. So, but this has cost us a lot in the past, so I'm not willing to take anything for granted. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting to do this interview, even after all the ups and downs. Yes, sir. The last time I asked you about how Onyendu was doing, and I would just like, for the benefit of those who are hearing this now, for you to please help us understand how he is doing.
Okay, are we live?
Yes, we are live, sir. We are live. I don't want to waste any time. We are live.
Okay, well, I saw him last on Thursday. He was okay, and I'm seeing him again tomorrow. I see him twice a week.
Wonderful.
I've been doing that for the past 2 months, and he's okay. You know, he's a very strong man.
Sure.
And strong physically. So he's okay as anybody can be, anybody in detention, illegal detention and all that. So he's on an ID.
Good. It's good to know. And how about his family?
Well, they're okay. I do communicate with some of them occasionally, and it's my sense that everybody's okay. But you know, the family is the first line of defense in this kind of situation. So, such an incident or personal tragedy, you will expect that the family is feeling it most or more than anybody else out there. So, my heart goes out to the family. To both the immediate family and the larger family, the nuclear family. So you can imagine that this must be very excruciating and frustrating for them that the head of the family has been in incarceration for more than a year. I understand that Onyendu is the first son of the family, so he is the head, and I'm sure they are feeling the pinch of this current predicament. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. And I want to, as we begin to talk about the reason why I'm actually interested in this interview, you're going to be in court on the 13th of this month, I understand, sir. Can you confirm that?
Yes, confirmed on Tuesday.
Okay. Why are you back in court? Because there's so many cases out there, and I just want to define, make people understand or have an understanding of which particular reason it is that you are in court on Tuesday.
Well, as you can recall, the matter was last heard before Justice Binta Nyako at the Federal High Court. The matter was heard passed on 28th of June this year, and on that day, the further criminal trial hearing was stayed in the court, and the case moved on to the Court of Appeal. So the same issues that were ventilated before the High Court are the same issues that will be ventilated before the Court of Appeal on Tuesday.
And in a summary, what is the crux of the matter? What is the crux?
Okay, well, the crux or the fulcrum of the matter is basically that because of the rendition, particularly, Onyendu has no case to answer. Of course, that case was made when he was confronted with 15 counts of criminal allegations, 14 of them bordering on terrorism, and 8 of them were struck out, remaining 6 counts of acts of terrorism and membership of a proscribed organization, plus just 1 solitary count bordering on illegal importation of radio equipment. So these very charges, which are remaining after the others were struck out, are the ones that are before the Court of Appeal are facing the same prayer that these charges should be struck out. And while that is going on, there will be an opportunity to renew Onyendu's application for bail.
Now, if we go to court on Tuesday, and by the way, there were 15 count charges you said, and you were able to drop 10 of them in court, and the remaining 5. Is that correct?
No, actually, there were 14 counts bordering on acts of terrorism, and 8 were dropped, remaining 6.
Okay, remaining 6. Now, if we go to court on Tuesday and the judge drops these 6, what is the implication?
Well, if the judge drops 6, it will remain 1, the one that we consider to be the least serious allegation, which bordered on importation of radio equipment. If the judge, however, drops all of the 7, that is 6 plus 1, then he walks home. He will be discharged and acquitted. He will go home.
Okay, I'm trying to understand now. The case for rendition is the case for rendition. Please, you know, I'm not a lawyer, and we laymen understand things a little bit different. I was thinking, okay, the federal government has a case against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that borders on terrorism and acts of terrorism, which was the reason why he was being tried before. And then they went after his life, and then he managed to escape death at the hands of the Nigerian military. I would think that that is the case that is still going on. So could you just help us paint a scenario of what is going on here? What were they charging him from, and when did they add some extra charges? And what is it? Just help us bring us to where this case is right now, if you may, you know, starting from, because the last time we heard were them trying to kill him. We saw on live transmission when the military were in his house, we saw how they killed people, and then all of that leading to the point where they renditioned him to Nigeria and now charge him to court. Just for the benefit of our listeners, just to bring us up to date so that we understand what we are faced with. Could you help me summarize that?
Yes, Chidi, that's a very good question. You recall that Onyendu was initially arrested in October 2015. When that happened, they charged him with offenses bordering on treasonable felony and treason. And yes, and they went through all the motions. Some of the charges were either dropped or some were struck out by the court. Eventually, only 4 charges were left remaining. Those 4 charges, 3 bordered on treason, attempts to overthrow the government or to form a separate state, and the other one bordered on illegal importation of radio equipment. That was what was the situation until September 2017, when the attempt was made on his life. And as you can recall, the High Court of Abia State ruled that the federal government set out as pythons to terminate his life. So he had to flee for his life. So after they renditioned him in Kenya and brought him back to Nigeria, I cannot believe what happened. They dropped all the 3 counts of treasonable felony charges and brought him an entirely new set of counts, numbering 14, all bordering on acts of terrorism and membership of a proscribed organization, i.e. the indigenous people of Biafra. So this, again, implicates a legal issue, which is before the Court of Appeal, as to whether someone who was facing X number of charges before he was renditioned, as they claim he was extradited, but we are countering that he was renditioned. But let us assume that he was extradited. The law is clear that if you extradite somebody for 3 counts or 3 offenses, you ought to try that person for those offenses only. You cannot increase the offenses for which you brought that person back from one country to your country to try him. For instance,
sorry, barrister. This small clarification will help me a little bit and will help us. So you went after somebody for a crime that he purportedly committed, or a set of crimes, right? And for that reason, you went after that person and you used extrajudicial means to bring this person back because you claim he committed that crime. Now, if a court of competent jurisdiction is able to prove that in the first place, this person didn't even commit this crime and there is no case against him, then doesn't that nullify, have been issued, that whole charade, that whole activity of trying to bring, doesn't it cancel it and put you in a situation where you should be apologizing to that person?
But Chidi, you claim not to be a lawyer, but you speak like one.
No, it just hit me. It just hit me, and I'm thinking, it doesn't make sense now.
You are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. Guess what? Law is nothing but common sense. You express it very well. Yeah, you cannot. You can't rendition somebody, for stealing a television set. Then you bring him back and begin to try him for armed robbery. It doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen as a matter of law. So that argument has been adduced before the Court of Appeal, and hopefully we shall prevail on it.
Good. So sorry I caught you explaining, but that part hit me. That if you are saying this, then why is he? I thought that case should be like, let us even finish that one. Because that means you need to even reverse the thing. And would I be making sense to say that means Onyendu is in a position to actually be suing the federal government of Nigeria for renditioning him? It is not. Yes. It's not him that should be answering any case. It's the federal government of Nigeria who should be answering a case. That why did you even? Let's start from why did you bring me back when a court has discovered that I didn't even do anything in the first place.
Yes, he should be doing that, and that's why I sued the federal government in Omahia. You recall back in August last year, and we won. We won the part that had to do with the Python dance, and the part that had to do with rendition. The State High Court declined jurisdiction, so I took it to the Federal High Court. That case is still pending, and it's coming up on 4th October.
You know why I'm asking all these questions? Because it's easy for people to just say, and now the Kanu is in court, it's a useless case. Why do the lawyers always come and give people hope? As you can see, it's useless. But when we break it down, like you said, into common sense, you actually see, and you see something that is noteworthy is that the people who are representing the federal government are lawyers like you, who are the whole argument and everything is based on certain principles that they are also very careful to make sure they stand by it. And if they stand on those principles, and from what you're saying and the victories that you have also, because I'm aware of the last time you were in court and you won the federal government, which means there is hope, and people need to listen more when you guys who are representing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu are talking. They should not just think that there is no hope. We need to, and even the federal government creates that impression like, oh, this person did bad and is locked up, so just let him suffer for what he did. But the federal government is not above the law. Sorry, this is your interview, and I'm talking too much. It's also because of my excitement.
Guys, you're making a lot of sense.
It's the excitement. It's the excitement I have, because sometimes when they always say that how do they say it? When the hunter tells the story, the hunter always is the brave. But when you hear the story from the side of the lion, you will hear something different. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to cut you more. You were trying to explain to us how we got from the first time when they went to try to kill him to when they now renditioned him to Nigeria and where we are right now. And maybe the question should be, what gives you what gives you hope that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will eventually win this case?
What?
What makes you think that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will win this case, or will be able to that the charges against him will be struck out eventually? What makes you think so, and what should give us hope concerning the case?
Well, first of all, the law is clear and the law is on his side. Let me begin this way. The enterprise or the activity which put him in his present predicament is legal. Self-determination is legal, so Nnamdi Kanu has done nothing wrong. So all these accusations and allegations about terrorism while he was away from Nigeria are, we believe, to be trumped-up charges. These charges are a stretch from what is really the case and controversy. The case and controversy is very simple. Self-determination for the people of Biafra, for the people of the indigenous people of Biafra. So the federal government considers, if the federal government considers such enterprise as inconvenient or politically not correct, it does not mean, it doesn't make it a crime. So that's number one. So it cannot really, there is a limit to all of this before a court of law comes down with a gavel and say you can't do this anymore, that the man did nothing wrong. So that gives us a lot of confidence. Plus, some of the things you have said here, the mistakes were made by the federal government. It cannot put someone on trial, a fugitive he encountered in a foreign country. It can't put him it can't put him up for trial in your country without going through some kind of due process in the country in which you encountered that fugitive. So that is exactly what happened here. The federal government failed to do that, and that creates a barrier to prosecuting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So, and there are a host of other reasons that I can give you here, but I believe we do have a limited time. But all I can tell you is that the bottom line is that the law is on his side. The law is against the federal government, and what gives us confidence is just but that. Lawyers do have confidence. We are trained to have confidence when we ply our trade, when we push our client's interests and make his case in court. Though it's up to the judge to agree or disagree with us, but we do have confidence, particular confidence in this matter, that he has strong defenses, and the federal government case is quite frivolous, to say the least. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm transiting to my studio. One question I also, because, and let me also understand this, you represent Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but you, like I see when they talk about your position with IPOB, they say you are a special counsel to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and also to IPOB. And so can I also assume that you are lawyer to IPOB as an organization?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Now, let's talk about the position of IPOB. You know, in the light of so many things we see online, some people have come up to claim some things, and some people, there's so many things that have been said out there. Sometimes people come up and say, oh, IPOB is no longer under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Some people have claimed that they are now the new IPOB, and all sorts of things. Can you please help me understand what exactly is the true position of IPOB?
Well, the IPOB I represent is still intact, is still in place, and as they say in street language, no shaking. But I do acknowledge that sometimes there are problems, there are quarrels, there are misunderstandings. You do have quarrels even within a family unit. There are quarrels between husband and wife, parents and children. So for anybody to dismiss IPOB just because there is this noticeable wrangling or misunderstanding going on publicly, that person will be making a mistake. But I do acknowledge that these wranglings and misunderstandings shouldn't be a matter for public consumption. And I had, as an individual and as their counsel, rendered my advice publicly that if you must quarrel privately and don't do it in the social media. And I've also done, I've also, done. I've done a mess. I brought a message from Onyendu in the same regard recently. He's aware of it, so he did, direct me to try to control the situation or try to offer a public advice that such things shouldn't be happening in the public. But whether people do have misunderstandings amongst themselves, even all the way down to the family unit, it does happen. But by all means, it shouldn't be aired in the public. That's my position.
Thank you so much, sir. But you see, it's still important that we talk about some things in particular. Now, you just said you brought a message from Onyendu. And it's important, this question I'm going to ask you. Because some people have said that they would never take anything that is claimed to have come from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So would you now, I know you've said it, but maybe be very, very specific in saying, are you now saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from DSS tension is still able to talk to you and pass messages across, and these messages are authentic, they are not done under duress, they are not done under influence, that he is within his five senses working and he's passing these messages and they are credible and he's speaking to, because anyway, I wanted to say this because I was going to tell someone that if that is
either I will answer the question or you ask me and answer it yourself. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has his full mental faculties intact. He's healthy in mind and body. People have seen him in court more than 6-7 times. So anybody speculating about his poor mental state and all that and all those insinuations, I think that is very, very insulting to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It's also very, very insulting to the people that see him and the people that have taken risks, that are taking risks on ground here and see him twice a week, and they bring these messages of goodwill from him, and some people still do this conspiracy, these senseless, childish, silly conspiracy theories. If you doubt what the messengers are bringing out, or if you are doubting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's mental capacities, why don't you return home? Those people that are in the diaspora. Chidi, I'm not talking about you. Anybody that is in the diaspora who is doubting, they should come home. I'll put his name up for visitation. Let him go and see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and then come out and contradict anybody he wishes to contradict. And those of them in Nigeria are free as well. The court order or the court ordered visitation is not restricted to his lawyers alone. His relatives go to see him. His wife has gone to see him. His younger brother sees him, his in-law, and a whole lot of other people, even some politicians. The governor of Anambra State went there to see him, and so on and so forth. So anybody that is taking his conspiracy theory to the social media, I think such a person is doing it in bad faith. The person is indirectly insulting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and indirectly inputting and questioning the integrity of the people that go to see him twice a week. Thank you.
You know why I say this, sir? You know why I say this? Because that claim is, like you have said, it's actually insulting. But especially when the claim goes ahead to say that even his lawyers cannot be trusted. You know, that really got me going. I know you, I don't know if it is, you are a lawyer, I'm someone who is a broadcaster, I'm online, and we get it hot here. So you may, I don't know if you want to go that route, but honestly, I want to call names. I've watched several times Simon Ekpa do his broadcast, and the reason why I'm calling him out is because when he says those things, they have a lot of impact. And the issue with Biafra agitation and ESN and all that, it is so sensitive because with what's going on in the South, lives are lost. So it's a time when we are very, very careful about the statements that we make. So in a period like this, someone like me, I will not keep quiet and, you know, refrain from calling names because I want to be politically correct or civil. But I've seen Simon Ekpa say that none of the lawyers can be trusted, that people who come out and say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said this, that it's all a lie. And that
Chidi, can I cut in here?
Please
I
do.
I cannot come in here and be expected to account for what someone else is saying. The only thing I can say is that I'll repeat what I said before. Anybody that is in doubt, whether in diaspora or in Nigeria, should come down here. Myself or Barrister Jofor particularly, will put the person's name up for visitation. You visit him and then you come out and draw your own conclusions. I know, Chidi, you are not part of it, but the DOAs, which is the institution that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu left behind, trust the lawyers. His family members, including his wife and his brothers and sisters, trust the lawyers. So what else is left, if not these two? So I don't know why I should, it's not appropriate for me to answer for what some people are saying or somebody saying to the contrary. All I can say is I think it will make more sense, and I think it's proper, that before anybody draws any conclusion to the contrary or makes those insinuations that you are referring about, it would have been proper for that person to come to Nigeria if the person is in diaspora, or if the person is in Nigeria, to approach the lawyers and say, hey, look, I want to pay a visit to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. By all means, you will pre-qualify you, and I don't see why DSS will refuse the person visitation. They refuse only one person visitation, and that's Attorney Bruce Fine. And their reason was because he's a foreigner. So any Nigerian, I believe these people that are doing this speculation are Nigerians by birth. You know, so I don't think there will be any barrier to seeing Mazi. So it's only after that they can come out and make some statements that will be worthy of rebuttal or be worthy of answering. So when the lawyers and the people that visit him retain the confidence of the deputies he left behind and his family members and the society at large, I think that is sufficient to answer this question instead of looking to the outside of the nuclear group, you know, to looking for answers that don't be answers.
No. Just to be clear,
it's up to you as a broadcaster to correct, you know, false impressions out there based on the information that you have. So
see, just to be clear here, I wasn't even going to ask you to answer I wasn't going to ask you to answer what Simon Ekpa is saying. I am just telling you the source of my information, because if I say I heard somewhere, it will be speculation. I just said I heard from Simon Ekpa's channel. That's from there that I heard what I said, and what I expected and I requested to hear from you is what you have just told us. I just needed to know what you have just said. It has nothing to do. The reason I made reference to Simon Ekpa is for you to know the source of my information, and that's where it's at. And the other question I wanted to ask you, which you have partially answered, but maybe I just want to be very categorical in these questions. I want people to know exactly when it was asked and the answers that we got. I was going to ask you, but you've already said you are working with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's family. I mean, you and the lawyers, and then you're also working with IPOB. But let me be specific. When you say you are working with IPOB, several people have come up to say that they are the ones now representing IPOB or Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or the Biafra movement or whatever. I myself, I believe that the DOS, the Directorate of State, is the structure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu left behind or is working with, is in direct consultation with. Is there any other group apart from Directorate of State that you are dealing with or you recognize as structure?
No. See, listen. The indigenous people of Biafra is in a liberation struggle.
Yeah.
Representing Biafrans, numbering in the millions.
Sure.
You cannot reduce Biafrans, numbering in the millions, including you and myself, to a structure. Can you?
No.
Nnamdi Kanu is nobody's enemy. He's an Igbo leader and the leader of indigenous people of Biafra. So why is everybody trying to reduce it to a structure? He's open to everybody. He's open to people in Austria, in Canada like you, people in the United States, people in Europe, and people in Nigeria. He's open to that. He's the leader of all. Do you understand? He leads everybody, millions of people. He's not leading a structure. He's not leading his family. He's leading everybody. So speaking for him, authoritatively, I can tell you that he's open to all shades of opinion concerning the Biafran question, concerning the welfare of Biafrans, or concerning the issue on the table, which is self-determination for Biafrans. So I think we have to be careful not to reduce this to group conflict of this group against the other, or of American group against Austrian group, or Austrian group against UK group, or UK group against Nigerian group. I think people have to be global in approach. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was very global in his leadership of IPOB. He did not exclude, he rather included. So I think that should be the attitude that should guide all at this very difficult moment in the struggle. That's more important than recriminations and group conspiracies and group conflicts and exclusions and what have you. That's my answer to the question.
I'll leave it at that. Now, let's talk a little bit about politics, because politics is what's going on in Nigeria right now. And sometimes it's been mentioned that IPOB is, I don't know if I'm putting it well, but they'll say, oh, by the way, when you're talking about people visiting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I know Omoyele Sowore has told me several times that it would be a pleasure for him to visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I hope when he applies, whoever is in charge will let him visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I just wanted to drop in now that I'm talking with you directly.
You know something. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not everything that is for broadcast.
I know. No. So so when you're talking about politics, how when we hear that statement that there are political options, could you explain what that means? Because I've heard it come up. They are pursued, they're talking and looking at political options in the case. What is the meaning of that statement?
I mean, like political solution?
Political solution, yeah, that is it. I've heard political solution in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. What does it mean?
As far as I'm concerned, the matter of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra is simply a matter for political engagement. It's not for law enforcement. It's not for prosecution, arrest, rendition, and what have you. Anybody who demands self-determination through referendum has shown sufficient compatriot consideration and respect to the very nation itself from which he's making that demand, that should call for reciprocity on the part of that nation to say, hey, listen, come to the table. Let's talk about this, your referendum. How do we get to it? How do we get to say yes or no? It's not, hey, there, I'm going to shoot you dead. I'm going to rendition you. I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to try you in court and prosecute you and convict you. No, that has never been the right approach or right response to demands for self-determination. Never been anywhere it happened. It eventually failed woefully, such as in former Soviet Union, former Yugoslavia, and a host of other nations, including particularly, recently in South Africa. They jailed Nelson Mandela for 27 years, but that could not make apartheid sustainable. So political solution has always been the constant fixture or the constant feature in this controversy, but the federal government didn't want to consider it. Rather, it pivoted to aggressive law enforcement, which is hardly the solution. So if anybody should bring up political solution right now, it would just be like coming home to roost. That was also what was happening in 2017, back in August 2017, before someone decided he was going to abandon that and pursue Python dance instead. And look at where it got everybody to today. Is federal government better off for abandoning that political solution it was pursuing in 2017? No, it's not. Wow. For abandoning that, yes, it's not gay. It's, the agitation snowballed. The agitation rather escalated instead of abating. And I can tell you that, that should continue. It will continue until the right solution is found. So if anybody is talking about political solution, well and good. The person is making sense. But like I said, it's something that is supposed to have been there from the get-go. Thank you.
Wow. Mazi Ejimakor, people know you both speak. You see, when you people speak English, we go and misinterpret it. That's why it's good to bring you to talk to us. You see, that is what a lot of people have been fighting. Because when we had political solution, they said the conspiracy that I see, the lawyers are going to go, they want to go and meet politicians. And now Nnamdi Kanu belong to a political party we don't want that political solution. We don't want to. You see, now I understand that what you mean is that it is a matter of engagement with the states, with the polity, with the government, talking and understanding each other and trying to figure out what the problem is. It is a problem about our people, how we are feeling. Politics is people and governance and their affairs. That's what you're saying, that's what should be about, not about shooting and killing and arguing. It is for talking. You see, now that you explained it, that's what we didn't understand. And a lot of people just misunderstood it and said, what are you planning? Oh, politics. You want to go and bring some people and roping Nnamdi Kanu into politics. That's what we understood as political solution.
You can never Nnamdi Kanu. He can never rope him into anything. He got a mind of his own. Where he is going or where he was going with this struggle was crystal clear in his mind. Wow. He has farms, a man of very firm, strong convictions. And the enterprise of self-determination, like I have said, is not a crime. So why would anybody rope him into anything? But I think a mistake has been made by the federal government. I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. So that if the federal government is listening to this, I think they have a particular agency that listens to broadcasts like this. If they are listening to this, they should take it back to their political people in political authority that a mistake was made in September 2017, and that mistake should never repeat itself again. And another mistake was made on 19th June 2021, and it should never repeat itself again. The opportunity is still open, I think, for federal government to do the responsible thing, the right thing, and say, hey, listen, you are talking about self-determination and referendum. How do we get to it? Do we organize it amongst ourselves, or do we call the United Nations to supervise it? Or if it has a contrary solution to the problem besetting Nigeria, it should, by all means, put it on the table. Who is pretending that all is well with Nigeria? It's a pretext. You cobble together disparate group of people, and one group believes that it can lord it over the rest of the other groups. And there is no social justice, no political justice, no economic justice. Nothing actually is working the way it's supposed to work. So why do you expect that people would not complain? How can you expect that people will not protest? How can you expect that people will not want out of a situation that is all but a crushing environment for oppression? So all these things have to be acknowledged, and the best way to acknowledge them is to talk about them, not to suppress or oppress anybody that as much as raises a whimper or a voice of protest, that the knee on his neck is choking the very life out of him. That's exactly what is going on here. So when you arrest, rendition, prosecute, try, fire live munitions at people who are doing nothing wrong except desiring to have a separate nation of their own, you are adding insult to injury, and you are creating a situation of double whammy. It is not sustainable. It's a matter of time before the bubble will burst. So a responsible government is supposed to pedal back and do a policy somersault and call Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB to the table and start talking right away. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I consider your coming to my show a privilege. I'm not going to abuse it. I'm going to let you go shortly. But let me just ask you this. The federal government of Nigeria, like you have said, the sooner they accept and they realize they made a mistake, accept their mistake, and begin to do, I don't know what you call it, a policy somersault. That's the new one for me. They need to do a policy somersault and address their wrongs. But it's also embarrassing, talking about coming to the table, when I see terrorists, kidnappers, a lot of people who it has been proven, killers, and the federal government sends emissaries to them, and they actually sit with federal government and negotiate. They sit with state governors to negotiate, and even money is exchanged with them, non-terrorists. And yet the federal government of Nigeria finds it difficult to come to table with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and by extension the IPOB. But you have just given them advice, and we are hopeful that whoever is there listening here will convey this message to them. But let me also ask you, looking at the political situation right now, what implications, if any, do you think the continued incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what implication does it hold for the politics of Nigeria and the upcoming election?
Well, whichever way you look at it, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the big elephant in the room. He's the alpha male. You have to address that issue. It's not for me to address the issue. What is for me is to defend him and defend the people of the indigenous people of Biafra zealously and competently. The people that should address the big elephant in the room is, again, the federal government in conjunction with Southeast leaders. I don't know where the Southeast leaders stand on this issue. I suspect that some of them would rather have dialogue with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but they are feeling cowed or they are feeling afraid to publicly demand it. So the buck stops at the table of the boss. And who is the boss here? The federal government. So The solution lies in addressing that, and you cannot ignore, let me again say, you cannot ignore the big elephant in the room. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the big elephant in the room, and you cannot ignore him while going into a critical election that will usher in a new president, not a president that will succeed himself in 2023, or that you expect to usher in a new president. And while you have the big elephant in the room locked up in detention. So that's mutually contradictory. And you should have peace in any environment that you want to have a free and fair election. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Now, talking about Tuesday, what's the guidelines for Tuesday? Sometimes they say people can come to court. Sometimes they say people cannot approach the court. They need to be some meters away from the court. What is the situation going to be on Tuesday? Are people, and what's the location? Is it the appeal court? Is it the high court? And can people
the appeal court is at the appeal court. The appeal court is not too far away from the high court. This is the first time the case will be had at the appeal court, so I do not know what their administrative arrangement will be, whether they will be able to handle a large crowd, as you have seen truncheon the previous court hearings at the high court. But I do believe that there won't be any untoward incident, and the appeal court should, subject to space, allow everybody that wishes to witness the trial or the hearing to come into the courtroom or the premises, outlining the courtroom outside and all that. I don't think there should be any harassment or spectators. Is wrong. It had happened in the past, and we condemned it in the strongest terms. When I was doing my case in Omaha, the security forces were truncheon the court premises, and that prompted the judge to issue a very stern order expelling them from the court premises. So I do believe that everybody will conduct themselves in a civil manner, and the court authorities and the security authorities will bear in mind that this is an open case, it's an open trial, and under the law, everybody is allowed to come and witness it, subject to availability of space within the premises of the court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I will wish you a good case on Tuesday. I will wish all of us, we are all Biafrans, we are looking forward to a successful outcome. But just let me slip this in. Moilesho already tweeted about a lady who is still being held because she was wearing a Biafran outfit. I don't know if you are aware of this case or if there's any update.
Yeah, I'm aware. That's the Idara goes. The case is, I can tell you, I can assure you, the case is on the front burner, just as that of Mama Biafra and the others. Nobody is being left behind. A lot of things that are being done are not in the open. And a lot of times you have perhaps certain sensational news items that will swallow up the other ones. But things are happening, and no Biafran and no IPOB member who is detained is being left behind. All the cases are in court, and everything is being done by all kinds of lawyers, not just myself. There are just so many lawyers. You just see that maybe 35, 4 of us are prominent on television, but they are just other lawyers you don't hear about. They are in the eastern part of the country. They are in Abuja here. They are in Port Harcourt. They are everywhere working quietly on these cases. And, you would see that once in a while, we do achieve results that come out in the news. But that case of Idara Good has been quite very frustrating, because they kept moving her from one location to the other and so on and so forth. So it has been a very tough case to handle in terms of the attitude of the law enforcement agencies here. See, Chidi, you live in Canada, but you were born here. But I'm sure that, some of these things I'm saying here sound very strange to you. I mean, things that will never happen in Canada.
I know.
I mean, this is terrible, Chidi. It's just horrible. I just feel so bad even talking about these things. I practice law in America, and I'm frustrated that you take a young girl who is not armed, just because she was making a fashion statement, you take her for going to over 6 months now, and you're moving her from one location to the other, and you're not bringing her before a court. This is state crime. This is state kidnapping. You know,
I know.
I mean, it's just terrible. And you think people will not protest? People will not want Biafra? People will not want out. People will not want to dissociate themselves and tear themselves away from a country that condones this kind of rank injustice and criminality and, you know, banditry in high places and brigandage. This is terrible. Really, very frustrating. I condemn it in the strongest terms, and it's very frustrating to us as lawyers, and I'm sure it's very frustrating to Biafrans as well, and it's just something that shouldn't happen. So if the federal government is hearing my voice, I'm condemning it in the strongest terms. I'm speaking to you directly, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm speaking truth to power. Stop this persecution of the Biafran people. Stop it now and release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and all prisoners of conscience in your dungeons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mazi Ejimakor. It's been a pleasure, like always. The other time you accused me of why didn't I bring you back? Okay, I'll leave it at that. I would take that blame.
Chidi, listen, I'll be happy to come back anytime you want to have me on. You put me on. I like your show. You're an intelligent guy. You're well spoken. You're likable. So you don't have to chase me about all over the place, but just anytime, arrange it well, and I'll be on and I'll speak to the audience.
Thank you so much, and special thanks to my uncle here, who's like a father here with me in Canada, Chief Echo. He spoke so well about you. He was the one that said, "Go after this man." Yeah, I have to.
Oh, okay, that's Oga Luke.
Oga Luke Echo, yes, he's
here. That has been a very good friend of mine from back in the days. Yeah.
Oh, he holds
strong man. I respect him a lot. I respect him so much. I send my best wishes to him. I do chat him off once in a while, occasionally on Facebook, and so on and so forth. So I hope that one day he'll come home and
the situation you have right now, I mean, why would anybody want to come home? We're looking up to people like you. We're looking up to people like
very invited. On the front lines here, we deserve a pat on the back, not false accusation and blackmail, and it's been much.
No,
instead of a pat on the back from people are intent on blackmailing and, you know, spewing lies and propaganda and things that are intended to discourage the people on the front lines. But we're not discouraged, Shady. We're fighting on. Thank you so much.
No, you should not be discouraged. And I want to use this opportunity to tell you that it may not look like it, but those with you are more than those that are against you. You know, social media is a very funny thing. Some of the people who have the ability to have a platform and they choose to use that platform to misinform, to blackmail, to try to just destroy the good works of people. They just last for a while. I've been there. I've been around for a while. I've seen people come up, but they never last. They will last for a season, but as long as the truth about situations are established, and that is why I really consider it a privilege when I grab a hold of people like you and you come to try to tell us what is the true situation of things. It helps to dispel all these rumors. And I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you for all the successes that you've experienced, and for your doggedness. Also, other lawyers like Ejiofor and Ozikome and Bruce Fain and lots of other people, like we say, a host of other lawyers that who are working out there in the background. Please extend our regards to all of them. Tell them we are with you. We will do the most we can, and we would donate money to wherever money is being raised properly, because
I know you didn't want to go into that. There's a lot of people raising money all over the place, but I think it is you're being very gracious, you're being very civil, and as a lawyer, you don't want to shake the table. But honestly, anybody, these men need a lot of resources to do what they're doing. And I know IPOB is doing its best. I implore people to try to make sure that your money goes through a source that actually helps to fund what is going on back home. If you enter the wrong bus, now you do yourself. If you enter one chance with your money, don't come and blame anybody. A word is enough for the wise. Thank you so much, Barrister Ejimakor, and I'm hoping to have you here next time. You have now said it publicly that anytime I reach you, you will answer, so I don't have to chase you all over the place.
Yes, you can hold me to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye, sir. Bye-bye, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay, guys, so that was Barrister Ejimakor, special counsel to Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He was our guest on today's interview. It's taken quite a toll on me trying to get this interview to happen. We fixed it for last Friday, but because of some technical issues, we couldn't have it. But I'm so glad we have that today. Always a pleasure to have him to straighten things out. And I hope those of you who have been misled by a lot of inconsistent news and information out there, I hope today this interview helps you understand that the legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still working with him, is still in contact with him, he is still talking to them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still giving messages from a DSS, and there is hope in his case. It is not a hopeless case. A lot of you have abandoned Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because you thought it was a hopeless case. A lot of you have listened to people who were given the wrong information out there, and because of that, you actually thought that there was no hope to remain with those that are with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But I hope today you'll have a change of heart. Thanks to all of you who have not given up on us, who stayed to see that this interview actually worked. Thank you for all your encouragement. We're going to be bringing you guys a lot of other interviews, so stay tuned with us. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you need to share this video, please, and you need to share this video, especially people who call themselves autopilot. Like you said, Ejimakor is not dismissing anybody who is a Biafran, who believes in the Biafran struggle, but it is important that you work with the truth. Simon Ekpa is nothing but a big disaster. I don't care. This is me. This is me personally. I will tell you, Simon Ekpa has been a big disaster to the struggle. There's no reason for him to continue doing what he's doing. He's just someone out there who is cashing out through his broadcast. And the game will be up very soon, because I know Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released and things will be straightened out. But until that is done, I want you to remain faithful, and I want you to continue to do what you're doing. And eventually, God will help us in this struggle, and we will achieve our aim. On behalf of Dr. Erica and everybody who helps us out with our broadcast, I want to thank all of you. I want to employ you to keep doing whatever you're doing that is bringing positivity to every human being. I'll see you guys in our next broadcast. Please take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.